Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her powers, and mighty be her powers, and mighty be her powers. In joy and gladness, with our hearts united, we shout the freedom of our rest benighted. Long live Liberia, happy land, a home of glorious liberty by God's command, a home of glorious liberty by God's command.
All right, folks. Let me get this thing off the screen here, and we will start our show. Liberia, land of liberty, what a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free. Land of sunshine, land of palms and riches yet untold. But the richest ore that can be found is the people's hearts of gold. They're the people of Liberia, land of liberty, what a place to be. President Tubman will lead the way to a brand new day, setting the nations free. Liberia. All right, folks, welcome. Today is another day, the day the Lord has made. We must rejoice and be glad in it. Today is politics here at Controls, the Sam Gadu, here in the city of Green Country, Oklahoma, Tulsa. So wherever you are joining us from at this present moment, no matter what planet you are on, what continent you are, what country you are, whatever city you are joining us from, welcome to today's show. Again, today is a very, very important day where we will analyze and discuss a very, very important finding of the current ambassador assigned to Liberia, Ambassador Michael McCarthy. So we will be discussing his speech and also that of the rebuttal of the Liberian government, as well as other trending events, issues in the country that are taking place or that will be taking place when it comes to the Unity Party picking up their vice president for the bid of presidency in the country. So wherever you are, welcome to the show. I'd love to welcome you. Welcome, folks. If you are watching us, share the link, be a part of the show as well. And we'd love to also get your feedback, your comments as well. And so what we will do is, as we always done, we will be dissecting this speech. It's a long speech, and the rebuttal is long. You know, actually, the speech, the finding by the ambassador is a 2-page finding, but the rebuttal by the Liberian government is just 1 page. You know, what an irony. And we will go into it as time may allow us. It is a 1 hour show here at Talk TV Media Network. So wherever you're joining us from, welcome to the show. Welcome to our platform. So today's topic, uh, what do you think? What do you make up of the ambassador's speech, findings? What do you think of the Ambassador McCarthy findings with regards to his speech, his findings that he commented on, wrote a whole 2-page. And so with my colleague yesterday, we started, folks, discussing the speech. We discussed the first 2 paragraphs of the speech, and today we will go down a little bit in detail, and then we will try to summarize as well. So this is a finding that the ambassador said if he were to be asked by the U.S. Congress, remember, if he were to be asked by the United States government, having served as ambassador to Liberia, what is your finding? What do you have to say? Make a report today. What can you say? What can you do? What would that report be? That's how it is. That's what that is. What would that report be? So this is it, folks. I'm telling you, this is what the ambassador is saying, right? This is what he's saying to us. He says in the past few weeks, he visited a couple of counties and towns around the Southeast, and that was something that he wanted to do as ambassador, visiting Liberia, to tour the country, to go around and see the people, the plight of the people. What is it that the government of Liberia is doing for its people? What is it that, what aid, with all the aid and the money that's coming into the country, what is the government doing? Because the cry that we continue to hear is during the war, when Liberia came out of war, there was a lot of aid, a lot of money that came into the country under the regime of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Then we saw Liberia got hit with Ebola crisis, hit the country, that too. And then a lot of aid came into the country. That was still, I think, under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration as well. So, but when she turned over, according to what we heard, she turned over. Hold on, folks. Let me get this very clear. Awesome. So she turned over, from what we heard from Senator Prince Johnson, with about 150 million in the U.S. coffers, U.S. government budget. That was money that was sitting in the government that she turned over to the Weah-led administration, that Weah signed for it. President George Weah signed. But there is no accountability. And the Weah-led government has never come out to rebut that, to say no to that. That means, silent means concern. So, because where evidence is, according to Senator Prince Johnson, that if even the Weah-led government denies that, he has papers to prove that there was about 150,000 Liberian US dollars into the coffers of the government. But then Liberia faced another crisis, which was COVID, right? COVID. Liberia raised a lot of money under COVID, right? Because those of us who were traveling and going and coming into the country, just imagine at the Roberts International Airport alone. At the Roberts International Airport, you have to pay $75 if you're coming from Europe or from America. $75 to do your COVID test. That's what happened. And some of us, the irony is, most of that money was not being collected as in, the way we use check. You write a check or credit card, whatsoever. Cash. You don't have a cash, you can't go. So that was being collected, but no report. As in, this is what the government generated just from COVID. Those who were traveling in other African countries were paying, I think, about $50. So no accountability for that. That was another gateway to the country's economy. When you look at maritime, those are areas. Recently, the transport ministry workers were protesting for increase of salaries because they have met their benchmark far more than what the government required or the Minister of Finance wanted them to do. According to the reports, they've met more than what they had asked for. So money is coming into the country. But then is that money, the development and the money that's coming in, do you see it trickle down to the little man, to the little town, to Buffalo, to Bon County, to Grand Cru, to Riverside, to Lofa? Do you see it trickle down where the countryman is feeling it? Because from this report alone, if you have a small town that has gone for 4 years without not being able to print marriage certificates, what do you think? What do you expect? 4 years because a printer broke down. Yet, the Ministry of Internal Affairs that is completely responsible for that is collecting $220, $230, 200 plus marriage certificate fee. And people are getting married every day, every weekend in Liberia. Yes. And these people, before they get married, they want to make it legit. They have to register. When you go to Internal Affairs to get your marriage license, you have to pay that money. There's no go around it. You have to pay that money. And so you want to tell me the Ministry of Internal Affairs cannot take $100. In fact, less than that, $75 or $80 to get a nice good printer and send it to that town and get it going. How in the world will the ambassador be able to find that information out? And our own government officials are sitting down, squandering the country's resources. But then, that's just my take. Okay? So according to the report, I'm gonna begin where we started yesterday. That was just a summary. As in, money came into the country, about $100,000 for hospitals to help operate, but it's not showing how it was spent. 3 million to 4 million. Other governments have suggested giving, pledge. But then, if that cannot show, why would we, according to the ambassador, trust annual pledges of US 3 million to the government? Because that is what they want to pledge. 3 million. The US government want to be able to give 3 million as a pledge. But then he's saying, how in the world should we even give that money when we know it's not going to be executed? It's not going, you're not going to feel the weight. Only the few. When it drop, boom. As though it is dropping. You know how you have hungry people or hungry crocodile. The crocodile is sitting in the river. They're hungry, no food. Nobody to prey on, nothing, no animal, no fish. Then you drop one meat inside. Everybody come rushing to eat it. They're going to kill each other. That's what's happening. So the little crocodile then, all my end up being swallowed under it. That's what's happening. So the ambassador is saying, how will we give money when what we're giving or what we have given is not showing? You're not showing proof of it. So what we see there is accountability. That's all there is to this. Accountability. Is the government of Liberia accountable to its people, the taxpayers? Let me read this. The ambassador states, I also visited most of the country service centers, and in 2022, none had received any of their budget allocation, usually around US $13,333. One center has not printed marriage certificates for 4 years because the printer broke. And their last allocation was received 5 years ago. Can you imagine that? So I'm not the one saying this. The ambassador is the one saying this. And as evidence, let me put it on the screen so you can see. This is the ambassador's statement. Let me remove this findings stuff. There it is. Right here. It says 13,000. That's what I'm talking about. And so it says virtually all of them beautifully electrified over the past 2 years with UNDP supplied solar power systems, costing around 35,000 to 40,000 cash, and amply staffed by mostly salaried employees in tidy buildings, are reduced to the job of middlemen, limited for forwarding paperwork to Monrovia periodically for time-consuming processing. Their plight makes a mockery of decentralization efforts. The one functioning office in every center, the Liberia Revenue Authority, has representatives who collected duties and regularly forward funds to Monrovia, apparently a one-way street. Can you imagine that? The Revenue Authority, a one-way street, folks. I'm telling you. So let me bring the other one on the next one. I'm done reading this one. Let me bring the next one. So this is the next one. It was striking that the further I went from Monrovia, the more elaborate and explicit were the reasons given for the lack of funding from the central government. Folks, y'all got to read this with me, right? Go along with me so we can dissect, we can analyze this thing. Oh, it is challenging for the government these days. Oh, Putin's war has made everything more difficult. These are their excuses, though. Presidents have dried up the budgets. These are the excuses of the government officials of the government. You donors, partners must fill the gaps. I wonder if these people are aware that much of their credit, the LRA has surpassed projections and increased revenues for the past 4 years, climbing from US 435,682 million in 2019 to 605,000 to 5 million in 2022. I suspect the country folk don't know that the Liberian economy grew by 3.7% in 2023. If this is so true, let me hold this down. Let's hold this truth constant, that the Minister of Finance, Minister Samuel Twell, will boast of this. If you boast of this, that the country's economy grew by 3.7%, which I know he's normally good at boasting. Now, the ambassador is saying, where is the effect? Why is it that the people are not feeling it? Because if it is growing by that margin, the people should feel it. Instead, it is the opposite way around. There's more starvation, there's more hunger, people are broke, jobless, all of this, right? Let me bring it back up, folks. And I am quite sure they have not been told that the legislature has spent more every year for the past 3 years buttering their own bread, allocating over US 65 million in 2022 for salaries and operations. I said the ambassador, man, the ambassador know the Liberian way of doing the thing. He said buttering their bread. The people been buttering their bread. That's what the ambassador said. I said the ambassador, the people then they will come in the country, they will go and they go to the bottom line, so they can understand the people's language, how they speak, so they understand the culture. So the people, the big shot in, at the legislature been buttering their own bread, allocating millions and millions of dollars for operations and salaries. That's correct. While hospitals went without and service centers wither on the vine, the 30 senators and the 73 representatives spent 65 million US dollars feathering their own nest. Folks, this is alarming. This is serious. I'm telling you, this is alarming and serious. These people spend this much money feathering, meaning enriching themselves. My own, me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. This is what's happening. That's it. We, now the ambassador is saying, we hold 25% of the salaries of our Liberian employees at the residence and at the embassy to pay their legally mandated income tax to the LRA. Why are the much better paid representatives and senators not paying a full 25% of their salaries? Why are legislators and ministers, those living on the top of the heap, giving annual duty-free imports that deny the LRA much needed additional revenue? Is there any reason other than the perverted version of the golden rule? Those that have the goal make the rules. This is revealing. Why is it? The man is even telling you how the government can still make more money from this statement. Because the duty-free that's supposed to be given to the people and not given to certain people, only certain people. So the man is saying, the Liberian employees that are at our embassy, when we are ready to pay them, our staff, we hold back their pay, their taxes, 25% of their taxes, what they're being paid. The U.S. embassy holds that and then pay it to the Liberia Revenue Authority Department. They pay it. If these poor Liberians, taxpayers working hard to make their lives, to survive, are paying their taxes, why is it that the Liberian, the big shots that are making the millions are not paying their taxes? Their share of the 25%. Because 25% is a share that you have to pay if you're working individual. Why is it that they're not paying? They're making the money. They need to set the example. They are the one that make the laws. They make the rule. But they're not going by the rules. Only in Africa. Only in Liberia. This will happen. I work here in the US. I pay my taxes. If I don't pay, Uncle Sam will come after me. And the thing that develops the nation is this accountability thing, because when you pay your taxes, and this the fascinating thing is our people, our leaders, they leave Liberia, they come to the Western world, they travel here, they sleep in the best of hotels, they drive on the good roads here in Europe and in America. They love it, they love the environment, and they are at the helm of power where they can just call the shots and make the decisions. But they can do that. You come, you live in somebody's house. The person's house is fine, it's nice, and you love it. And you go back home, you want to go live in the dirt. You come, you see the next person's country is clean, but then you are now in charge. All you need to do is to be in authority. Look at the city mayor. Let me just say that before I even delve into this. He's a young man, Koji, Major Koji. What do you think if Koji stopped talking all the politics and defending George Weah, and he played the perfect role he's supposed to do for his government by saying, I am the city mayor. My city has to be clean. I will take the shovel, I will wear the rain boots, and everybody else follow. Lead by example. Just like what Mirabro used to do. At least Liberia had a good sanitation under Mirabro. But right now, the way the rainy season is about to start, it's about to come. Go certain parts of town, Center Street, Johnson Street. When those seawalls bust, and it busts and it smells, it stinks, and you see the market woman sitting down, not nowhere with their bread, with their food, sitting down by it, selling, striving hard, praying to God for somebody to come buy something. By that kind of sewage. Inhaling that stench, that smell all day, that in itself will kill you. These are the things. When you go everywhere part of the town, there are garbages on the side. Somebody eat stuff, banana peeling, they throw it through the car window outside, right in the street. Our leaders must set the example. Our leaders are the example. Folks, I'm telling you, it doesn't take that long, that much. If you put me in charge, city mayor, and I know I have lived in this country or I have come here and I've seen the difference, I will wonder as I talk to other colleagues, city mayors around the world, what are you doing different that we are not doing? What is it that got your city clean? What is it? Help us. Then you take the lead. Let Koji as city mayor step in, take the shovel, get in the gutters, clean up the city and straighten things. Let me see who else will now follow. If you lead by example, folks, you will get results. And not only just results, but good results. That's it. This is what the man is saying. If the U.S. government was to ask him today, the golden rule, they say the people that make the goal, they are the one making the rules. So the read continues. It says, U.S. taxpayers spend around $60 million a year on healthcare in Liberia. U.S., United States taxpayers, we spend around $60 million a year on healthcare in Liberia. $60 million? A small country like Liberia, the state I'm in alone is bigger than Liberia. Liberia is just 43,000 square miles with less than 5 million people. You got 60 million US dollar coming to you just for the healthcare department sector. And another, not only just that, that's 60 million, and another 23 million on education. The same legislature that spent 65 million on itself in 2022 appropriated around 7.1 million for grants and subsidies to county health facilities and US 2.76 million for operations at basic and secondary education. Although, as we saw, that doesn't mean the funds reached their intended destinations. But if the legislature could just appropriate an additional 10 million a year to primary education for a country that is tied in last place for average days of school attendance, and an additional US 10 million a year for county hospitals, even the greatest cynics concede that it will make a big difference. The greatest cynics are convinced that that alone, not the 60 million I'm talking about, the 23 million are coming. They say that one alone, if they use that one for half for education, half for clinic, it will make a big difference. So just US 500,000 each per year of actual maintenance, not make-believe budgeted funds on 4 unpaved roads, Zozo to Vonjama, Zedru to Fishtown, Greenville to Barclayville City, and Greenville, Buchanan. 500 million, my people. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 500 million. I am taking my time to uncover this, to talk about this, so the Liberian electorates will understand the dynamics of elections. Because the people perish because of lack of knowledge. So the people will know the type of people that they're supposed to elect or put in government. This is all what we are doing to create the awareness. Because if this is true, and if they want to fight it, I think the ambassador is willing to show evidence, because the man not sitting down over there go sit down to lie on the people. When Uncle Sam put something on paper, bring something, they got evidence. When Uncle Sam says something, they got evidence. The man on the ground, the man been feeling, the man feeling it. The man to going to places where the government officials are not going. The man sending people undercover to find out information. He himself traveling to find out information. So he compiled all this. And Liberian people like to talk. Liberian people, they're not feeling, they will tell you what happening. Now, the thing I like about our people, Liberian people will tell you. And no fool in the house, they tell you no a dry rail. Today I ate dry rail mamwe. And I Friday today, nothing. They will tell you. So when the ambassador took upon himself to visit these counties and these villages and towns, the people would tell him that what happening, my people. Then America and compile the kind of report, then you say they're not true. It's not true. So let me finish, my people. Let me finish reading it in here. So this 500,000 goes to for the road, for all these roads that I just named, would dramatically, the man say, if it was implemented, it would dramatically improve the lives of more than 1 million of Liberia's poorest citizens, lowering food costs, revolutionizing farm to market access, and eliminating seasonal shortages of life-saving medicines and equipment. The legislature will still have US 43 million a year to somehow get by. Anyone interested in a proper agenda? The man say, I didn't say that one. Let me put it up. The man say, right here, right here. He said, anyone interested in a proper agenda? This is what the man saying. He said, anybody interested? So all the 60 million that can come to the country, the 23 million, the man said, if that 23 alone, do the math, if some of it alone was allocated and given to the people, and the U.S. Senate alone said, we're going to take about 43 million among ourselves, this and that. Right here. Right here. The man say Liberia will be improved greatly. Greatly. That's what the man say. What is going on? Let me finish the last statement. As for me, should the U.S. Congress ask how the elite in Monrovia are treating destitute citizens in the Leeward counties, my honest response would have to be, those, quote unquote, quote, those citizens are treated with a neglect that borders on contempt. Is this the best that Liberia can do? That is the statement, the conclusion of the statement. It's right there. Let me read it again. Final. He said, as for me, should the U.S. Congress ask how the elite in Monrovia are treating destitute citizens in Leeward counties, my honest response would have to be, those citizens, quote, those citizens are treated with a neglect that borders on contempt. Is this the best that Liberia can do? Is this the best that Liberia can do for its citizens? Oh, my people, love of country, as I've always said it. We the Liberians, we have a saying that say, when they give you something to do, you want to lick your hand. But not licking your hand. Licking your hand, okay. But when you lick your hand, you want to lick the elbow. You want to lick your hand all the way to the elbow. Now what's happening? You lick your hand, you lick the elbow, and then everything, meaning not just what was sent or meant for the people of the country, but everything that comes in. We're not even talking about what the country, Liberia in itself as a nation, is generating from the borders, from the immigration, the maritime, the entry points, the RIA, the registration. You see keke, motorcycle riders, and vehicles all over town. You have to register and get a license. To get your license for a vehicle over there, you're going to have to, a new license, you have to pay almost $200 US dollars. You have to pay. When you're a motorcycle rider, you have to pay $25 to get your license. A motorcycle rider. And when you look at the number of motorcycles in the country, you do the math. The country is blessed. The country has money. The country, the potential to make Liberia and Liberians rich, that every Liberian would not be poor in our country. It's there. God has done his part, though, by blessing the nation of Liberia enormously. But we don't like our own self. We don't like our own people. And the funny thing, they take all the money, they steal all the money, they take it to foreign countries and bank it in other foreign countries, and other people benefiting from it, trading from with it. They go build houses and mansions in foreign countries. At least, if you steal it and you build in a country and you develop the country with it, it's understandable. At least, I'm not saying I'm encouraging stealing, right? But if you steal it and you develop, you build the roads, you build the houses for the people, the highways for the people. That's okay. But you take it, you go put it in Switzerland. You go put it in Ivory Coast Bank. You go put it in Ghana. And then what are you doing? You are making the other countries rich, because what they do in finance and business, they're trading that money. They're making profit out of it. They're trading. What are you getting out of it? Nothing. Is this the best that we can do for Liberia, for Mama Liberia? Is this the best that we can do for our country? Where is that drive? Where is that desire? Where is that accountability? Where is it? Where is it? So I'd love to hear from you, folks. That drive. Because this is no joke. The Liberian government can take this, and we don't even know what is yet to come. This is just when Uncle Sam starts something, they know where they're going. So if you're not smart enough, we will warn you. We'll let you know ahead of time so you know. Tighten your belt. When Uncle Sam starts something on you, when they're digging something on you, you better stand, you better be good. You better stand tough. You better look over your shoulders. Now what's happening? The people can't be suffering like this, for God's sake. Then here comes the rebuttal. We saw another rebuttal from the minister. Where is it? I don't have it. Where is it? The Ministry of Information on behalf of the Liberian government. Those of you who can find it, if you can't find it, go to our Facebook page, Talk TV Media Network. You'll see it. Response to the U.S. ambassador's assertions. So number one, they say, let me tell you now, that the government part coming arena, the government respond. Because from what I'm looking at, they already telling the man, say they got the man lie. That's what the report saying, right? Provides details. This is in Monrovia, April 26, 2023. The government of Liberia acknowledges the concerns raised by U.S. Ambassador Michael McCarthy in a press statement released on Monday, April 24th, in which he highlighted the state of some health and education centers in the rural parts of the country, as well as efforts Liberia is making to decentralize development. The country continues to make significant progress since the end of the Civil War, which tore the nation apart for more than a decade and sunk it further into poverty. We already know that one. The country went through war. It's been years. Ellen Johnson said over there for 12 years. And then other leaderships and stuff. Now, so we keep going using this war thing as an excuse, as though no money or no help came to the country. Because of the problem there. Every little thing that comes, it goes to the war. We understand that. Okay? The Zogos are all over the town. No mental health organizations available to help these people come out of their quagmire of poverty. They are suffering and stuff. Nobody can do that with all the money that coming in the country. The country continues to make significant progress since the end of the Civil War. Okay, I've already read. It says recent efforts, including by the Weir administration, aim at reviving critical infrastructure as it invests in health and education, have gotten much acclaim from various bilateral and multilateral partners. These efforts are being accelerated in spite of global economic challenges, which have slow growth in many parts of the world. While the government recognizes that there is always room for improvement, particularly in the allocation and disbursement of funds for essential services, the narrative, as expressed by Ambassador McCarthy, is inaccurate. And I told you, I say, the people say the man lie. They say the narrative, what the man talk about, what he explained, he say it's inaccurate. They say that means the people are not suffering. They say you're not suffering. That is it. He just said it all. But I'll continue on because Talk TV Media is a platform that brings independence reporting. So when we cut on one side, we bring the other person's story, we look for the other side, we bring it. That way we balance the story. I can't just talk about what the ambassador said. I got to hear the government side. What the government say. And then I will leave you, the viewers, to decide, to see truth. Right? So that's what I'm doing here. That is what we do at Talk TV Media Network, folks. He says it's inaccurate. Healthcare, for instance, according to the government, is one sector in which the government continues to expand its efforts to increase coverage in order to meet the needs of millions of Liberians, as well as hone the skills of service providers. Wow. This, in fact, was the central theme of the recently concluded Third International Symposium for Community Health Workers, which was hosted in Monrovia and attended by hundreds of delegates from around the world. Many speakers, including those of the World Bank and the Global Financing Facility, cited Liberia as a powerful example of how crucial it is to build a health workforce. And for this, the government remains grateful for the goodwill and support it continues to receive from all development partners, including the U.S. government, without which this feat would not have been possible. So they already admit that they're receiving the assistance from the U.S. partners, government, and other partners around the world. So that is clear. The government said that they're receiving the support, right? The assistance has proven vital to the giant strides the country has made over the years. Okay? It is important, however, to clarify that the US 60 million referenced by the ambassador is not money coming entirely to the government of Liberia, as has understandably been skewed by politicians with an eye on the upcoming elections. Only a small fraction in government-to-government support, which is disbursed only after proof of performance, goes to government. The rest is expended through USAID, own funding mechanisms, directly to a selected project implementers. The government remains dedicated to investing in critical health infrastructure across the country as it builds clinics and hospitals, while also prioritizing human capital development. Liberia is therefore thankful to the U.S. government for its decision to complement the government's efforts by agreeing to construct a national reference lab. The government has also disbursed hundreds of thousands of dollars in resettlement action plan to affected residents and can assure the Americans of Liberia's food preparedness to run the facility when it is completed in a few years. Completed in a few years. Let me run through this because I have to give the government due diligence to this so we can see what they are doing. They're not a big book writing. The man wrote in simple English for the layman to understand what's happening. Liberian men, nothing they know but big book. Big book. That's also big book. They're talking here. BB terminologies. That when you're reading it, if you not go to school, you not understand. It will make you sorry, say a week to read. Now, what happening to the response? Now, the first thing I see, so big book. That one is only for the educators. Those of us who sitting out here and reading and understanding. But we'll break it down for you. That's why we're here. We'll break it down for you. That's what happening. Playing with words, man. Liberian people are good at it. Similarly, efforts are being made in the educational sector as the Weir administration strengthens the free and compulsory primary education initiative, as well as the improvement of school infrastructure and the training and support of teachers. The government is also building new model schools and developing standard curriculums which have led to major improvement in students' performance in WAEC WAS. The Liberian government values the long-standing partnership it shares with the U.S. and believes that open communication between both governments is important to the sustenance of this historic site or tie. Data from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and validated by the Ministry of Health have been attached as proof of cash disbursements to health facilities nationwide for year ended fiscal year 2022. This provides much needed explanation on the spending and disbursements pattern to health facilities within districts, towns, and villages across the 15 political subdivisions of Liberia. The summary also provides key information and clarification on actual disbursements and the mode of disbursements to health centers and the reporting requirements in order to correct the assertions made in the ambassador's piece that no funding was reaching healthcare centers. Anybody who can read 18 will know or will have a key idea that, I don't know, it said it was written by, let me see, by the information minister, signed Ledger Who Rennie. But when you look at 18, you look at Samuel 12 wrote it. But let's go to the facts that Gemma take. Under fiscal year 2022, about US 7.2 million was disbursed to more than 70 hospitals, clinics, health centers across Liberia. This amount represents operational activities and excludes salaries of employees, rents, drugs, and vaccines, which are provided by the central government through the national budget or with assistance of development partners. So the Liberian government is saying that 7.2 million was disbursed to the healthcare department sector of the country, right? To implement all of that stuff. Granted, let's hold that constant. Okay? Point 2. The amount includes US 4.9 million United States dollars, representing about 175 USD checks cashed out of the GOL, Government Liberia Consolidated Revenue Account, and about LD 350 million, representing more than 150 checks cashed out of the consolidated account fiscal year 2022. The health facilities include referral hospitals, clinics, healthcare centers, etc. The disbursement report and analysis as attached show that some facilities receive their operational support in both United States dollars and Liberian. Who cares about all of that? The man talking about 60 million here. The man talking about 23 million. The man talking about 100 million. And he's talking about 500 million. Commitment of money that coming in. Then you're talking about 7.2 million. We're not crazy. We're not stupid. The facts are there. Look at this. If this is true, even this they're talking about, this 7.2 million disbursement. Because what I see here, they are only attacking, or this rebuttal is only for the healthcare sector. That's all they rebutted. Right? This is it. So the man talking about million, then you say we get receipts, 100 something receipts. This and that. Are you kidding me? What is going on, y'all? What is going on in the world? Folks, that's just ridiculous. This is why I always say, and I still hold constant to that, if you elect a poor person in government, If you take someone who is poor and put them in a seat of power, what do you expect? Let me say it the other way around. When you have not handled 10,000 US dollars, you have never seen it. 10,000 US dollars, the bundle 10,000, striped, cash. You have never seen it. You have never handled it to feel that at your own. But then somebody gave you 50,000. You'll go crazy. It will test your character. That's what's happening here. And what's happening? Can you take a child and put them behind a car when they're not ready to drive? When you know that this child is not of age, what are you doing as a parent if you do that? When you take a child, you put them behind a car to drive, you are sending them to their death, to their grave. That's what's happening. You are sending that child to his or her grave. This is what's happening. Running a country is not a small boy thing. Running a nation is not a child or a baby thing. It's an adult stuff. Someone who thinks about tomorrow, the nation, the children that are coming. Running the nation is not all the joy, all the I always say, we are. No, it is not an emotional thing. It's not the bluffing. It's not the clothes you wear. It's not the cars you drive. Running the nation has to do with the livelihood of the people, the livelihood of the nation, the survivor of the nation. Liberia, we have to understand that we live in the 21st century world, and other nations are moving far ahead. You go to these rural areas, the people still writing, teachers are still writing on a blackboard with chalk in their hand, writing on a blackboard. The way we grew up. That's what's happening. Does that say something? Does that say something to you? No computer, no electricity in schools, no safe drinking water for students in schools, nothing. And you have money coming. My people are dying because of lack of knowledge. When will Liberians and Liberia rise? When will the Liberians rise? When will you wake up from your slumber? When will Liberians wake up from their sleep and realize that we have slept long enough, that enough is enough? When will Liberians rise up and say, enough is enough? Folks, this is not a joke. This is no fun. When you are at the point of your life where you are at a break, you know how something meets you, some kind of trouble meets you in life. You are at a breaking point, and you realize that you have to do whatever you have to do to make a turn around of your life. Whatever it takes, you're going to do it. That is the point that God is taking Liberia. That is. So Liberia and Liberians will understand and rise up, as in church leaders, stop politicking. Church leaders, when you need to stand up for the truth, for what is right for the nation of Liberia, most of the church leaders and pastors and bishops, they are hanging in a cookie jar. Because you, the pastor, you running your church, you standing on the pulpit, you have a full understanding that your church is comprised of members of various political parties. But you, the pastor, instead of playing the independent role or being that shepherd, you taking side. You go put your hand in a cookie jar. You who's supposed to be telling the truth. You who's supposed to tell your congregation where the truth lies. You take side. If I'm sitting out in your congregation and you preaching about one political party, you favor one political party, you will not get my offering. Not even my tithe. Because you're supposed to be working for the government of heaven as a minister of the gospel. Not for anybody government here on earth. As a minister, as a pastor, as an evangelist, you're supposed to be working for the government of heaven. But instead, you're working for the government on earth, telling the people who to vote for, telling the people because why? You're getting favor. Your church is getting favor somewhere along the line, down the line. God will hold you accountable. There's a lot into this discussion. And that's why I have chosen to come, because we'll use this platform for truth. There's a saying that says, you must stand up for the truth even if you have to stand alone. Can you imagine if one person could stand up for the truth? And within that instance, somebody else going to stand alongside that person for the truth. And the third person going to come and stand along that person for the truth. Eventually, the truth will prevail. Eventually, truth will prevail. Truth will overcome. And that is what our leaders, Muslims, Christians in Liberia need to rise up and stand up. The people that's supposed to be running the government with purity, supposed to be God-fearing leaders. Because when you have the fear of God in your heart, you will treat your fellow men right. That's what happens. This is far more than just politics. When you have the fear of God in your heart, and you run in the church, and you're a bishop, and you're a pastor or prelate somewhere, have the fear of God first, and stand up for the truth, and don't take sides. You even as an individual, when you go to the ballot box, your vote should be sacred. Your vote should be sacred. As a minister, don't go say, y'all go vote for that male. But if you know in your heart that God spoke to you, because sometimes ministers and people can be very emotional. When you speak the truth, bring the apples, weigh the leaders that are vying for the political office for the nation. Bring them to weigh on a scale, weigh them, and compare the apples, compare them, and then tell the people, you choose. It's your choice. Don't tell them. Don't lead them astray. Don't lead the sheep astray. Our church leaders, and this Sunday we'll talk about that. The church in Liberia, for me to see, even past elections, to see pastors chanting in the street with banners, political banners in their hand, that is a disgrace. You might as well just leave the pulpit and go run for political office, or go take the banner, go campaign. Leave your pulpit. Folks, anyway, I hope the issue of the U.S. ambassador finding has been laid to rest. But folks, tomorrow is a big day in Liberia. The Unity Party and its political leader will be unveiling or revealing their vice presidential pick for the coming election, Joseph Numa Boakai. And so we have been hearing that the OMI have been busy trying to meet behind closed doors with other political leaders that have stood alongside the Unity Party. And we've been hearing that it has not been easy. But this is a test of leadership too. When you're a leader, you have to go through this. So as he pronounced his pick tomorrow, that is his own constitutional duty, folks. He had to choose within himself. He had to pick the person that he think that he can work along with. He has to pick. I can get along with him, man. Yeah. My people, this man is capable, but not just capable, but I can get along with him for he and I to be able to run the country and do well. That is it. That is why the vice presidential position for the country of Liberia is not an elected position. For those of you who do not understand, it is an appointed position. So that is why Joe Boakai is appointing or selecting his vice president tomorrow. And it's a media frenzy. It's all over. It's not a big deal, but it's just so crazy. You know, politics, people get anxiety, excited, all of that. Some people will probably get high blood pressure tomorrow. It's also expected that the person he might pick, other people may not like that person. Right? That's evident. That's human nature. You do good, somebody gonna gossip about you. You do bad, somebody gonna gossip about you. The very person you're doing good to, as you turn your back, they're starving you in the back. They're talking about you. It's all part of human nature. All of us along the way have experienced that. That's it. The very person you pay their school fee, or you do good to, some way, somehow, you fed them while they were hungry. When you hear that person talking about you, or that person will go at every length to make sure that you die. Relatives do that. Other families do that. That's happening. That's reality. Then how much more when it comes to politics? I tell people I don't trust politicians. That's why I don't get myself into politics. I don't trust politicians. A politician can be eating on the table with you while they're designing, they're planning to bury you tomorrow morning. That's what politicians do. Because me, you lie to me, or you put your mouth on my mouth, that trouble, I'll come for you. That blow with tea will blow it. That's why I don't let get myself into politics. That's it. Because I respect my mother too much. I respect my father too much. I respect myself. So I do what I feel God has called me to do. Truth telling. Tell the people the truth. Here on this platform. Talk TV Media Network. So tomorrow, folks, where is it? Tomorrow. Come Friday. Joe Boakai. Who will Joe Newman Boakai pick as his vice president? Come Friday. Tomorrow. And their names. Right? We discussed some of them tomorrow. Yesterday. Some of us. Here's one guy. Councillor Gonglo. ANC leader. Cummings. Political leader. Nyomli Kanga Lawrence. Nima County Senator Jeremiah Kuhn. But according to inside sources, this man, Jeremiah Kuhn, might be his pick tomorrow. But then the analysis that we're going to bring is, what is it that Jeremiah Kuhn has to offer, to bring to the table for the Liberian people? Does Jeremiah Kuhn has international connections? Because part of the thing you Liberian people make mistake is that, oh, you don't have to have international connection. You lie. You lie. You can't be a leader of a nation and you don't have international connections. You will struggle. Your people will struggle. You're living in a global village. The world we live in is a global village. Let me put my glasses down. The world we live in is a global village. You need me, I need you. Right? Is Jeremiah Kuhn qualified to be vice president? Is he ready to run the country? Beginning tomorrow, if he's pronounced. We're not just looking at the demographic of electorates that he's going to bring. Nimba County, we're looking at he bringing the demagogue of Nimba County or Senator Prince Johnson. Is that, and others are saying in other circles, in it also as well, bringing Jeremiah Cohn. Now we see Prince Johnson has already endorsed, has already jumped on the bandwagon. Is that something that's going to taint his administration if he were to win? Because Prince Johnson is a former warlord. Believe it or not, that's the truth. Former warlord that should have been tried to The Hague. Folks, Charles Taylor is sitting behind bars. And while Prince Johnson is senator and languishing around, masquerading around. This life is not fair. And then now, the old man got a clean slate, and he bringing him along. Bringing him along. A problem. But we'll see. Because we're sitting. Just like most people say, we're watching. We're watching. So this is Mama Liberia, folks. This is the country that we all love. This is the country that we all yearn for. We all need to strive to get Liberia back into the Committee of Nations, to become that bright light, that beacon of hope again, that will rise from the arches. It is that Liberia that we all yearn for. That Liberia that will rise from the arches. That beacon of hope in Africa and the world. The red, blue, and white stripes. The small United States country in Africa. That's how we call it, Liberia. What are we doing? Our pa, America, rich, got money. Then your son, broke, suffering, and languishing in poverty. And nobody can become president in Liberia if you don't have good relationship with Uncle Sam with United States. That's point. It's sad to say it, but that's the truth. That's the truth. If you become a leader, you must first find it in your heart. I have to have a good relationship with Uncle Sam. Not this Uncle Sam, the big one. That's what's happening. Right? If you don't, your own feeling. Your own feeling. And if you think that you're going to leave Uncle Sam behind, you start getting yourself into bilateral contracts or relation with the Arab world and other people that are trouble too. You not pick. I'm speaking because the examples are there. History is there. Because the thing that got Charles Taylor over there where he is, he did his own. The people that all were part of that, some of them stay out today. But I think his connection with the Arab world too. The late Gaddafi. Uncle Sam didn't like it. America didn't like that. His connection with the Arab world. After Gaddafi, that bombing that took place, Lockerbie, that killed Americans. Then you go sit on the same table to eat with that kind of person. Uncle Sam will come for you. So our leaders need to have common sense, wisdom, common sense, knowledge, understand how you thread in the political arena. That's it. Folks, every good thing must come to an end. Everybody get their era. My era finished for today. Soniga. Everybody get their era. That's how I'm going to leave you today. Thanks for being a part of the show today. A special shout out to all of you who are celebrating your birthdays today. And this month, to be more exact. Special shout out from us, from me to you. Those of you celebrating your wedding anniversaries, special shout out. Those of you who are sick, I pray that God will raise you up in good health. I pray that God will raise you up in good health. Those of you who are celebrating and graduating, and especially special shout out to my baby sister, Hannah Smith. Hannah Tewangadu Smith, who will be graduating with a BSc tomorrow in Banga. Special shout out to you, girl. You did well. You've made us proud. Now your era, nursing. Everybody get that era. I can't wait to be there tomorrow. Because Banga Kante, we're going to shake Bon Kante tomorrow. We'll shake it. Until then, folks, thanks for watching.
Everybody got a era. Oh God, you know, your era is your era. Some people era to make a market. Some people era to be up and down in the street. Some people era to pay the sign of me. I got my era, it's music era. Over, I say. Now my hero, yeah, now my hero. Now my hero, yeah, now my hero. Yeah, now my hero.